Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Up podcast. Today, I have another great guest for you, my new good friend Vicki from the UK, and we got connected to a wonderful gentleman that I have not talked to yet, but has been flooding me with amazing people. Actually, I have a call with him right after this one. It's Wednesday afternoon, June 26th. It's 4 o'clock here in Asia. It's what is 11 o'clock in the UK. What time is
10
it there?
o'clock in the UK. Yeah, 10 o'clock.
Okay, so I have a call with them in 15 minutes. Can't wait to talk finally to Stephen. But yeah, he connected me to this wonderful lady right here, and a little bit about her. Let me see. She's been a coach for the last 15 years, and she's enjoying that. She's loving that. It's very fulfilling her. She's also taking care of her husband who has a neurological disease, and she's helping people better understand the finances and not leave themselves vulnerable financially. In 2008, you went through that yourself. You lost everything, and then you bounced back. So you lost
I
everything
did.
because of an unscrupulous business partner, not just the economic crash. Maybe sure that might have something to do with it, but it was mainly because of the unscrupulous, from what I understand, the scrupulous business partner.
It was, sadly, yes.
Yeah. So and you have an background in accounting, and that's helping you as well now with your businesses and also with your coaching. So we're gonna unpack all of that. So without any further ado, Vicky, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
Pleasure's all mine. So we're gonna talk about your business and all that in a moment, but tell us, for people who don't know you, who's Vicky as a person, as a human being, as a woman?
Who am I? Okay, wow.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, well, I'm 50 years old. I turned 50 last year. So
Wow.
I've got 30 years of experience behind me. I'm a wife and a mother to two grown-up children who are both very successful in their own right, doing very different things to what I do. One's a graphic designer and one is a designer for interiors and textiles. So very different to what I do. So very proud of them both. I live in the UK, like you said, in the sleepy Somerset countryside. We're currently hosting the Glastonbury Festival for 250,000 people to come and party for a whole weekend. So,
Wow.
um, and yeah, I've had quite a let's say colourful life. Um, my background, my mum was had some mental health issues, and that was quite challenging growing up with. I have two siblings, which I don't really have a lot of contact with anymore. Um, but I love to, I've been through some stuff myself, and I don't want other people to experience that. And I just now want to use all of my life experience, and this is what I've been doing for the last 15 years, to really help other people. So that's me in a nutshell, really.
Beautiful. Love that. We're gonna unpack all of that in a moment. But first of all, what I like to do with my guest is ask them a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know them as a person. Ready?
Ready?
What makes you happy, Vicky?
Sunshine.
Mm,
I love
yes.
sunshine.
Mm.
Yes.
Are you getting enough sunshine in your sleepy little village?
We're getting some sunshine now, but generally in the UK, no, not nearly enough sunshine, which is why traveling also makes me very happy.
Absolutely. What makes you smile?
Oh, I smile a lot. I don't really think about what makes me smile. Seeing other people happy,
Mm,
knowing that I'm surrounded by people that love and care about me as well makes me smile. Simple things.
love that. Now, what sets your heart on fire? What makes your soul sing?
Helping other people overcome their money fears, because money is an omnipresent resource. It's not something that should cause the fear and the anxiety that it does. That really motivates me, and really, yeah, I'm really passionate about that.
Love that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Oh, lots. Dishonesty makes me sad and angry. People taking advantage of other people makes me sad and angry. Um, People struggling financially makes me very sad and angry. Poverty, children growing up in, you know, horrible environments really makes me angry. So people that are people that are cruel to animals makes me really angry. So all of the yeah. So yes, yeah. I don't like. Um, I would take all of the animals and all of the children who were struggling home with me if I could.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. I cannot
Yeah.
understand why someone can be cruel to completely inoffensive people. The only people that can give you a truly unconditional love are animals. And how can we
Mhm.
be so cruel to them? It always breaks my heart when I
Oh,
see.
it just yeah, absolutely doesn't even. I can't even equate how somebody could do that. Really couldn't. No, no. And I've studied psychology, and I still can't make out people sometimes.
Yeah, I love dogs, especially when I see videos of dogs being maltreated by people that really want to make me reach in the screen and just beat
Yes,
the
yeah,
crap out of
absolutely.
those people.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. There's just absolutely no need, no need.
Mhm. What scares you?
Not an awful lot, to be honest.
Not even spiders?
Not scared of spiders. No,
Ooh.
I'm not fond of snakes.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm not fond of snakes. I think what scares me, quote unquote, is not living a full and exciting life. So just making do. I think that scares me. But
Absolutely.
no, creepy crawlies I'm good with.
Say that again.
Creepy crawlies, spiders and things I'm
Oh
good
yeah,
with.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, what would you say is your number one personal superpower?
I can see it was once said to me that I can see the blocks in other people where money is concerned,
No.
like the kid in Sixth Sense sees dead people. Now, if you haven't seen that movie, I've just ruined it for you. I do apologize. But I can see in other people what's holding them back financially really, really easily. It's almost like a gift. I can't explain it. And
Wow.
I've kind of had that sixth sense with people since I was very, very young. So I would call that my superpower. I can be like, oh, you're having a problem with so and so. And then they will be like, what did you know?
Wow.
So
Share with us one thing that you used to value a lot, but that you don't value anymore.
materialism,
Mm,
expensive shoes, expensive handbags. Don't get me wrong, they're still nice things, but I used to allow those things to define me quite strongly. I attached a lot of my self-worth to what people thought of me and what I presented like. Now, I would never wear the same thing twice if I was going to an event because I didn't want people to think that, that was a reflection of me. Um, I now realize that those things are absolutely not important and they're not who I am.
absolutely. I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Now, what is one thing that you did not value before, but that you're now valuing more and more?
Time. Yeah, time. I think when we're younger, I think it's true of all of us. Time seems infinite, doesn't it? Um, but suddenly I find myself as the mother of two grown-up children, one of which is married,
Wow.
wondering where those 27 years went.
Oh yeah.
So I value time a lot more now. I don't take a single day for granted anymore, whereas I think 20 years ago I did.
Every day is a gift. That's why it's called the present,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that quote. Yeah.
literally and figuratively speaking. Yeah. And it is beautiful. Absolutely. When was the last time that you had a really hearty laugh, the kind of laugh that gives you, your cheeks are hurting, you have stomach ache, you have tears flowing down your face because you're laughing too much?
Just a couple of days ago, in fact.
Wow. Tell us what
Yeah.
happened.
My husband's from Detroit,
Okay.
which is renowned for being quite a rough and ready place, shall we say? It's
Oh yeah.
renowned for being a little bit kind of, yeah. Um, and we were watching this movie, which was dreadful. It was a dreadful movie. It was the Meg 2, just in case anybody wants to know. And it takes place under sea, so there's all of these like evil sea creatures. And I don't know where it came from, but I said, oh my goodness, I said it's as bad as Detroit. And then I decided that I would call it Seatroit, and we just both found that incredibly funny and couldn't stop laughing. Um, it's yeah, it's a very it's an awful joke. But my husband takes it all in his stride, and he does laugh along with us when we tease him about being from Detroit. So yeah, so that was just a couple of days ago, and I amused myself so much with that we both just couldn't stop laughing.
Have you been to Detroit?
Yes, yes.
What do you think of
So yeah, not awful, but
Depends where in Detroit.
the same as anywhere really. I mean, locally we've got places that, you know, there's good, there's bad. You just stay away from the bad places. Yeah. So
Well, what would you say are your three non-negotiable core values?
my three non-negotiable core values are love,
Mm,
very important to me. Um, trust
mm,
and opportunity.
yeah, love that. Now, we mentioned Detroit. You enjoy traveling, do you?
I do enjoy traveling. Yes, I
We
do.
can do an entire episode on traveling, but we'll do that another time. I want to take you down
Okay.
a type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to
Hmm.
when you were growing up as a young girl. You know, when we're kids, people around us, you know, family, relatives, friends, neighbors, teachers always ask us, "Hey, Vicky, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your answer to
Yeah.
that question as a young girl?
A screenwriter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Um, it came from being seriously ill as a child. I had a sort of a heart defect as a child, which wasn't detected until I had a heart attack at 12 years old.
Mm,
So I wasn't allowed to do much. I had multiple surgeries after that, but I wasn't allowed to do much. So I was just sat doing inane stuff for many years. And I discovered writing and discovered movies, and that kind of is what really kept me going in that period of time, which was quite difficult for me as a 12-year-old with a 50-50 chance of survival. Um, and it just really lit me up and it really thrilled me. And I loved movies and I loved writing. And if anybody had asked me from that point onwards, right up until I was probably 19 years old, what I wanted to be, I would have said a screenwriter.
wow. You mentioned 50% chance of survival. Why?
Because at 12 years old, I collapsed with a heart attack. Nobody knew I had a heart defect. So, as a consequence of that, they found that I had some quite serious stuff going on with my heart,
Wow.
which then resulted in a string of surgeries to try to, you know, save me, basically. But it was the mid 80s where obviously these things were still quite, you know, quite new and they weren't sort of commonplace like they are now. And every time we went to an appointment with the consultant about my heart condition, we were told every single time we will do this operation, but there is literally only a 50-50 chance that she will survive it. And that's when I became quite fearless because I had to make peace with my mortality at a very early age, I think. And that's when, going back to your previous question, when you say what scares me, is very little, to be honest. So, but gladly, I
Mm,
swayed to the good 50%, and I am still here to tell the tale, which is good. So,
amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
didn't have a very good relationship with school at all, if I'm honest. Certainly in my younger years. This is back in a time when teachers were quite cruel. Um, I didn't really want to learn in the way that they wanted me to learn. That wasn't because I was being defiant. It was because I just think I process things in a slightly different way.
Mm.
So I found it difficult. I did find it difficult. I was always told I would never amount to anything. And of course, I wasn't a sporty kid either because nobody knew at the time, but I had this heart condition. So I always was, a bit lethargic. So no, school wasn't a great experience for me, to be honest.
What was your favorite and least favorite subjects in school?
My least favorite subject in school was physical education because I couldn't do it, and you were then basically reprimanded and made an example of for not being able to do it.
Mm.
Obviously, we now know there's a reason why I couldn't do that, but at the time we didn't. So
And your favorite was, let me guess, writing, English?
it was English and maths. I loved
Oh,
English and
wow.
maths. I love numbers, and I loved writing. I still love writing. Um, yeah,
Beautiful. Imagine that we were in the same class, say in grade 10, 11. What kind of student were you? Were you the geek one? Were you the quiet, silent one? Were you the chatterbox, the superstar? What kind of student were you back in grade 10, 11?
I was probably the quiet one, the one that just kept my head down and got on with what I needed to get on with. I didn't like drawing attention to myself. Um, yeah, I probably wasn't considered kind of studious or a geek. I was just quietly getting on with things, head down, getting on with things. Um, I also didn't really like drawing attention to myself at that point in my life because of my home life. And that had taught me to, again, keep my head down and just pretend we were a nice, normal family, I think.
Were you popular with kids your age in school?
After sort of from 12 onwards, I was popular. I didn't, I had a very good friendship group. Yeah, I wasn't a loner. I was quite a popular person. I don't think I hung out with the cool kids, but I certainly always had a good friendship group.
So in school, high school, and university, were you popular with the boys?
No, no. Again, I was just quietly head down, getting on with things. I met my first husband when I was very young. Um, I don't think I was popular with the boys. I think I was aware of them.
Mm.
Um, but had some sort of self-confidence issues going on as well. Because by this point in time, you've got to bear in mind as well that my torso is covered in scars from the multiple surgeries that I had. So I met my first husband when I was very young, and yeah, I got married when I was incredibly young the first time as well. So yes, I wasn't a player.
You were a coach. Awesome. What was your very first job? Do you remember what was your first job and how much you get paid the first time you worked?
Yes, I do. There was a farm locally to us, a chicken farm, and I got a job on a Saturday and Sunday morning to go and collect the eggs. Sadly, they were battery hens, which now I don't agree with, but back then that's the way that it was. So I would walk along the cages, getting pecked by putting my hands in to collect the eggs from the hens and put them in trays. And I think I was paid, this was around 1986, probably.
Okay.
And I was being paid 55 pence an hour,
So that's 50 cents basically.
50 cents an hour. Yeah.
Wow. And how many hours were you working per day or per week?
I was probably doing 6 hours on a Saturday and 6 hours on a Sunday. And I thought I was really wealthy when I got paid.
So that's £3 per day. So £6 on a weekend. Was that good money back then?
Probably not, no, but it was I was happy to have that bit of financial independence.
Mm.
So yeah.
Let's move forward. Share with us, how would you describe your path from the moment you left school to now? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward? Once you get into a lane, you were set for life? Or was it more
No,
like
no,
turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
no. I wasn't encouraged greatly by my parents because I was a girl, and I was from a family that didn't really encourage the girls. Girls were supposed to get married and have babies and do menial jobs. That was kind of the environment I was raised in. I was expected to leave school and go and work for my father's company doing just office work. And for some bizarre reason, I don't even know why, I told him that I was going to be an accountant and I was going to train as an accountant. He told me that that wasn't going to happen because I was a girl and girls didn't do that sort of thing. So I did it really just to prove a point. So I trained in accountancy while managing still health problems as a consequence of my heart problem. Then got married, sort of, I think I got married before I qualified. And had my first child around the same time as I qualified. So didn't ever work in a corporate environment. I started my own business. So which was difficult because at that age I didn't really know what starting a business was about. So I knew how to do accounts and I knew how to charge money for it, but obviously hadn't taken into account all of the other things that a business involves at that point. And then I got quite good at that. And then I sold that business, or I sold my customer base to go into business with my partner who took me down in flames. So it's been, it's been interesting. It's not been linear at all. No.
What was the first business?
The first business was bookkeeping predominantly. So just keeping people's accounts in order without doing the full accounting bit. I didn't do that until later on when I qualified. So yeah, my first business was always bookkeeping for people.
Awesome. Wow. Powerful. There's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our head all day long. So when you, Vicki, you were at some of your darkest, most challenging times in your life, how did you change your story internally to change your reality externally?
That's a great question. I love that question.
Yeah.
I'll use when I lost everything in 2008 as an example. I had two choices at that point, and I had two children also that depended on me. So I could choose to become a victim. I could choose to think, oh my goodness, why has this happened to me? This is awful. This is so unfair. And it was those things. It was unfair. It wasn't something that I had, wished for sure. But I could also have the choice to say, okay, so what can I learn from this? How can this become the making of me and not the breaking of me? And that was the choice that I made. So I asked myself more powerful questions. How have I facilitated this happening to me? What responsibility do I need to take for this having happened? And that was how I discovered money mindset and how our conditioning and how we've grown up and our beliefs can impact how we act out with money. So I've always been quite a positive person. I think that came from being sick as a child. It's like if I wasn't positive about that, then it probably, possibly could have been a very different outcome. So I've always tried to flip it and say, okay, so this wasn't great, but how can I turn this into something great? So perpetual optimism, I think somebody once said, but I think it's also a very, very positive thing to do. I could have said, okay, I'm done. I'm not trying to start another business. I'm just going to sit and feel sorry for myself for, the rest of my days because this has happened to me. And I didn't, gratefully. So I've turned that into something really positive whereby I hopefully help many, many more people not experience similar through my own experiences. So yeah, I do sometimes. I mean, we're human, aren't we? And by human nature, we do normally fall towards the negative. But you can stop yourself in that moment and say, okay, so this isn't actually my reality. I can and I do have a choice to change this. I just need to ask myself more powerful questions.
Beautiful. You just spoke by words. One other thing that also changed my life has been to ask better questions. when something bad happened to me, I used to ask the wrong question, these empowering questions, such as, what did I do to deserve this? Why is life so unfair?
Yes.
Where is God? And,
Why me?
yeah, and whine like the little bee. And when you whine like the little bee, nothing good comes out of it. Then I understood and realized that I need to ask better questions, more empowering
Yes.
questions, such as, what is it trying to teach me? What is the lesson for me to learn to that? Just exactly to mention. There's one other thing that you mentioned is very powerful, so powerful that I even voted. I have an entire notepad full of worthy quotes, and I just added this. You said, is this gonna be my, I don't want this to be my breaking, but I want this to be my making. Something along those lines.
I did. I said this could either be I could let this be the breaking of me, or I can choose for it to be the making of me.
I love that. Let me just make sure I wrote it correctly. Yeah, how can this? Okay, say it again. I'm gonna write this down.
I can let this be the breaking of me,
Me.
or I can choose for this to become the making of me.
I love that. Absolutely. If I may, I will borrow that line and use it, and
Of course.
that is truly a quote-worthy one. Okay, cool, cool, perfect, perfect, perfect. Love that. Now, tell us about your business. What's your impact in the world and all that good stuff?
Oh, my business was born out of me losing everything. That's not an experience I wish for anybody. It was awful. Suddenly realizing, and this is where I lost my attachment to materialism as well.
Mm,
That materialism came in very handy because I was able to sell it on eBay to support my children. But equally, that's obviously not necessarily what we intend it to be for. So out of me losing everything, I wanted obviously to start another business. I didn't want to go back to just accounting. That wasn't what I wanted to do. So I wanted to help other people in a very, very real and tangible way, because what I discovered was there wasn't much real help out there for people who were struggling with money. Certainly now, statistically, and it's not changed much over the years, about 42% of people in the UK admit to not being confident in managing their personal finances. And that's actually really sad, because if you can't manage your finances, then you're more likely to experience problems with starting a business or maintaining that business, or even supporting your family. So that is my mission. I want to inspire, educate, and empower people with money. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have multiple millions, but equally it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have nothing. I work with a broad spectrum of people. Quite often, the more money you've got, the more problems that creates for you, because you've got more concerns around it. And obviously, if you've had a lot and then you lose everything, I've been there myself, then it is really, really difficult space to be in. So that's my mission. My mission is to educate, empower, inspire people to make more money, manage the money that they have, and create future wealth. Because so many people are sort of squirreling money away now because they're worried about how they're going to manage in retirement. But life is now. We need to enjoy now as well. And I devised a system for myself to get myself out of, the mess that I was in, which allowed me to enjoy myself, enjoy time with my children financially, pay all of the debts that I had, pay the bills that I needed to pay, and still make provision for future.
mhm.
And even when I had a little, I attributed a little to each of those funds. And then as I got more, I attributed more. And that's a system I still use to this day. And it's something that I teach all of my clients, but it's giving people back their confidence. And it's another thing that I like to say is, and I've got it written down here, is I make money feel good again for people, because
Oh,
people have so many shameful attachments to money sometimes. So I like to help people, in a nutshell, make money feel good again.
I love that. I'm gonna write this down too. I make people feel good, make money again. Love that. Wow. You're a machine. You're a gift that keeps on giving.
Thank you.
Seriously. I have an entire notepad full of quotes, and I've been keeping this since probably, I would say, a good 6, 7, 8 years. So it's like I have almost like 1,000 quotes. Can you
Oh,
just give
wow.
me two? So
Excellent.
thank you, thank you. Now, how are you? Who would you say is your ideal client?
My ideal client is probably an established business owner. My ideal client is essentially me before I lost everything. So if we go back 15 years,
Wow.
I had an established business that was making good money, but I was working myself to death. And there wasn't anybody available to me for me to go and say, and even though I had a background in accounting, when you're actually up close and personal with your own business, it's sometimes very, very difficult to see what needs to be changed. And I did look to see if there was anybody available, but there wasn't. There was nobody kind of that I could say, look, I really need some help with this. I'm on my knees, I'm working too many hours. I want to make more money, but I also want to enjoy my life. So my ideal client is established business owners who have kind of reached that glass ceiling. They know that they're capable of making more money, but at the moment they're sort of completely, they're using all of their hours up. So it's to stop exchanging time for money as well.
Yeah. How are you getting your clients?
I get a lot of recommendations, which is lovely. So somebody will work with me, they'll see exponential results. One example being is one lady I worked with, we found £33,000 in her business almost instantly on people she hadn't followed up with, which were really warm leads that were really interested in working with her. So got her to follow up all of those leads, and the ones that converted were obviously, extra revenue to the business. So that's the sort of thing that I pride myself on doing, and help people overcome the fears of doing, because nobody likes, or, I don't take them personally, but people don't like being told no, do they? So sometimes they resist following up just because it may be a no, but equally it may be a yes. So that's something that I help my clients doing. Sorry, I've digressed and lost sight of the question there. What was the question? Sorry.
Was how are you getting a client?
How am I getting my clients? Recommendations. I get quite a lot of clients through social media as well, which is good. I have clients across the world. I've got clients in the United States. I haven't got any on the books in Australia at the moment because the time difference is a bit of a challenge. So that's something that I tend not to look for at the moment. But I've got clients in Europe and across multiple places, which is wonderful. And that's what I love about social media is I'm working with people now, even like speaking to yourself, that I wouldn't have met 20 years ago because of, how things were. And I just think that's incredible. I love that. So, but I've, it's rare that I've not got space to take people on. But if I don't have space, then I will put them on my wait list, and then we'll take them on as soon as I've got space for them.
Absolutely. You're a great guest because you just read my mind and you answered the question. You answered my next question without me having asked you. My next question would have been and was, share with us an example of a remarkable transformation you've achieved with one of your clients. And you just did.
Oh, thank you.
With a lady that
Another
30,000
Another one which sticks in my mind, which I'm really proud of, is a lady came to me. She was working 24/7, 365, literally. She had a very niche business. It had cost her relationship. She wasn't having any social time. She loved to travel, but she had no time for traveling. We spent 6 months working together, and we took her from that to only working 4 days a week, only working 3 weeks a month. She's now across social media. I see the wonderful holidays and experiences she's going on, and she's making twice as much money as she was before she came to me. So that's another one that I really love.
Beautiful. How does it make you feel when you see this kind of transformation from your clients?
Goosebumps. It never gets old. I just love it. Absolutely love it. I've had a little and I've had a lot. experienced it firsthand, how it feels to be in that space of, um, feeling lost financially, feeling vulnerable. Um, I know that that's a really challenging place to be. So every time I help somebody get a win, every time I hear some really positive feedback from one of my clients, it never gets old. I absolutely love it. And it just reaffirms to me that I am doing something wonderful. I am paying my experiences forward, and helping people. Just this week, I spoke to a lady who can't afford to work with me yet, but she really wants to. So I gave her a few pointers on the call, because I always try to give somebody value, even if we're not going to work together immediately. That's something that really means a lot to me. So I gave her some pointers, and noticed yesterday on social media that she announced that she will be putting her fees up, because that was the one thing that we noticed straight away, that she was charging far too little. And then she messaged me and was like, I'm making moves. I've announced that I'm putting my fees up, so that if people want to book me now at the lesser rate, and I know that she'll come back around to work with me, because I know she's determined to. And even that just made me really smile, gave me that warm, fuzzy feeling, because it's like I've literally spent an hour with this lady. While she can't afford to work with me just yet, she's taking positive steps towards changing her financial future, which is wonderful.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you on that. Absolutely. Let's start wrapping things up. And to finish, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions, this time on advices. Ready?
Go on.
What's the best piece of advice you've received so far?
The best piece of advice I've ever received is just be you, because that's the most attractive thing you can ever be to anybody.
Be authentic, in other words. I agree, absolutely. What's the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
The worst piece of advice I've received so far is, don't do that, because girls don't do that.
Yes, yes, yes. Imagine that you were blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with 18-year-old Vicki. What's the number one piece of advice you'd give to her, knowing all that you know now?
That's a really interesting question. I would tell her to just keep going. You've got this, because it does all work out, even though going through all of those health problems was awful. It was hard. Just keep going. Just keep going, because everything works out in the end. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't encourage her to change anything, because each one of those experiences has made me who I am today, has brought me to where I am now. And I love that place, and I love that person, and I love my life. So I don't want to change anything and sort of mess with that space-time continuum.
Absolutely. Do you have your own podcast yet?
No.
What's the number one reason that's been holding you back?
It's something that I've thought about frequently, if I'm honest. But again, it's just one of those things I keep putting to the side. So I have no massive kind of overarching fear around doing it. It's just been a right place, right time kind of thing, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Imagine that you do have a very successful podcast today, and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What's the first question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. First thing that comes to your mind.
Why do you do what you do?
And what's your answer?
Because I love changing people's lives.
Love that. Love that. Last question, and definitely my favorite question to ask all my guests, and that is, what is the smallest thing you've done? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing that you've done that has had the greatest, deepest, most profound transformational effect on both your life and business so far. For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Vicki?
Making the decision to go into coaching. Yeah, it was a snap decision almost, but that has been life-changing, absolutely life-changing. Whereas the easy out at that point in time would have been to go back into accounting and to get a job.
Beautiful. If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
You can find me at www.vicki, spelled VICKI, -o.com, or you can email me at hello@Vicki, VICKI-o.com. And I'm all across social media, Vicki O, quite easy to find. So yeah, come and say hi. I love to meet new people, and I love to help people. So and there's no shame in reaching out for help if you are struggling with getting your head around your finances. No shame at all.
Absolutely. Listen, Vicky, absolute honor, pleasure talking to you. I can see you have a beautiful heart. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world, your presence, your impact, your smile, your sense of humor, and everything that goes with it. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you. We're definitely going to be talking soon. So talk to you very soon, my friend. Take care.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.